Hey, folks. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. And welcome to this new episode of the RiseUp Radio. And today we have a very special topic and a very special guest. Her name is Wright. Joe, welcome to the podcast. And I look forward to having an engaging conversation with you today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me along. Excited for this conversation.
Yeah. So before we begin, folks, a quick introductions about ourselves. So I'm Ashish. I'm the founder and CEO of RiseUp. RiseUp is an AI co-pilot for leadership development, and we are helping organizations to scale and democratize leadership development for every and any manager in the organization. Joe, can I invite you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about yourself, what you have been doing, what are you up to for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the co-founder of Coaching Culture, which is a digital coaching platform and content, also like yourself, to democratize coaching, to give access to coaching to everybody in organizations. Also author of the book. No, it's got a cheeky title, so a bit of a health warning here. No More Shit Managers, 7 Steps to a Coaching Culture. And I've also got Wright, speaker and coach as well. So I do speaking, coaching people. So lots of things. Obviously, my passion is coaching, making a difference in the workplace, helping leaders and managers, but also to help employees build their confidence and general overall happiness at work. It's so important.
Totally. Absolutely. Love it. And you know what? We're going to cover your favorite topic today, which is coaching and coaching culture. Right? How to build a coaching culture. What can managers do? Where do they go wrong? What can they do to be able to build the right coaching culture within their teams? So that's primarily what we're going to focus on today, folks. So before we dig deeper about building a coaching culture, right, I want to take a step back and maybe consider something really pivotal, Joe. Why is it important for managers to coach the teams? I mean, what is the impact on the team? What does it bring out for the manager as a benefit if they actually coach their team members?
Oh, there's so many benefits, both for the manager, for the team, for the organization, for the individuals. It's just a win-win-win-win-win all around. So for the team, they are empowered, they're trusted, they come up with their own answers. It builds their confidence, their belief. They get results. It builds trust, performance. There's so many benefits. And for the manager, do you know what? One of the biggest benefits is in the long term, it saves them time. Everybody grows and develops. So when a manager doesn't coach, they tend to answer all the team's problems and they're constantly responding, firefighting, wondering where all the time's going, responding to emails. Actually, once they've shown their team, what's expected of them, they can really say, well, what do you recommend? What solutions have you got? And I think that's really, really important, that the manager grows, the team grows. It's just a win-win all around it. And that's what I absolutely adore about coaching conversations. And it reminds me of a story. I was doing a workshop, and so it was face-to-face interaction. And one of the managers went, hang on, are you telling me I'm limiting my team by answering their questions? It's like, yep, you are.
Yeah, and that's an epiphany that comes very difficult in a very difficult manner.
Absolutely. They were like, I thought I was helping them. I thought I was supporting them. It's like, no, you're limiting their growth. You're limiting your growth. And this is why you're still doing emails at 10 o'clock in the evening. And they were like, wow.
Yeah.
So, wow, I could talk about the benefits all day.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you know what? The symptoms that you explained, I basically like to call this as a super person syndrome, where the manager thinks that, they are the ones responsible for solving every crisis in their team, right? And they have nobody else to support them. Whereas that's totally the wrong thinking, right? I mean, they have everyone available to be able to solve challenges and issues that they're facing as a team.
I love that super person syndrome. It's like I've got to be the answer to everything.
Exactly.
And absolutely that's such the wrong way. And I don't know where it started from, but I think it goes back to those days when, you went to work expecting to be told, and you went and just did. You didn't have your opinion heard.
Correct.
Or that many years ago, but
Yep.
some leaders still do that, and it's such a journey we're all on together. But do you know what makes me really happy? I do believe more and more organizations are recognizing the power of leaders and managers who can have coaching conversations. So you've seen it too. You experience it all the time.
I have, and in my personal context, the benefits that I typically drive out of coaching my team are
Yeah.
twofold. One is definitely performance. I think that is one of the things that I try to unlock, because if they are not skilling, or if they're not upskilling or growing, or they're not improving their thought process, we are limited as a team in terms of performance always, right? And the other, intangible benefit that I've seen over the years built up is, forming a bond with them, right? Which is trying to understand, what motivates them, what's going to, click for them, and trying to unlock that for them. I think that bond that I'm able to build during that relationship of coaching them, it's a lasting bond that helps me to create that loyalty within the team, that collaboration within the team. I think that has really helped me as a manager, for sure.
I love that. Absolutely, asking some really great questions, listening to people.
Correct.
It builds your own relationship. It builds rapport, and you get to know the person, don't you?
It
More,
builds trust. It builds trust, right? I mean,
absolutely.
they know that you actually care for them, and you're actually working for their own benefit rather than for your benefit, basically.
Absolutely. And there are just no downsides. There are
Correct.
just no. I love
Totally.
it, honestly. The more we all get the message out there, the better.
Yeah, so let's do that. Cool. Let's jump into the culture aspect a little bit. Now, in this context of managers turning into coaches, right? What is the impact on culture? It would be great if you could highlight some examples or anecdotes from your experience of working with organizations and managers as well. How did you see the culture transform as well?
Absolutely. So our definition at Coaching Culture is a coaching culture is a place where authentic leaders and managers help people to grow, thrive, and perform through effective conversations, honest feedback, underpinned by trust. So that's kind of what we sort of came up with in terms of the organizations we looked, we researched, we studied. So I've got some great examples, and a lot of the case studies appear in the book that I know we'll mention. Organizations. So I've got a great example of a company, a global organization called Keynote. I met them back in 2019, and they had managers all busy doing the do, busy. And the managers were all having conversations with their teams, but they probably weren't the right conversations. So the people we connected with created an effective manager program, but they used some of our digital solutions at Coaching Culture as well. So content to get managers, they didn't just want to bring them into a classroom. They wanted to give them a blended solution. And over time, they started to really see the results come through. The managers were changing the conversation. They were having better conversation. They were building trust and rapport. And they describe coaching now as the air that they breathe, which is the way they communicate. And they saw their results. Customer satisfaction went up to 98%. Talent retention increased to 92%.
Wow.
The results were so fantastic. Another organization, a wonderful organization called PSS, which is a social enterprise organization in the UK, they already had a good culture and they knew that, but they thought coaching and feedback is going to take us to the next level. So they said it's going to take us from good to great. And they measured lots of different things when they introduced lots of different coaching solutions to help build their coaching culture. It was a blended solution again. And they saw, this is the one that was truly remarkable, confidence measures. They used to measure confidence on people who said they were feeling confident or not. And before they started on this good to greatness, only 54% were saying they were feeling really confident. As they went through, 99% said they were feeling confident.
That's a transformation.
Transformation. In fact, we used to have a coaching culture awards ceremony, and they won the Coaching Culture of the Year awards because it was so tremendous. And what I'm loving at the moment is more and more organizations are definitely waking up
Yeah.
to the power of coaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it is about giving all the solutions. So solutions like yourselves, you know, it's digital, because we have
Correct.
to use technology to get out there. We
That's
can't
true.
just face-to-face coach everybody.
It doesn't work anymore in the new work environment, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have to use technology.
Mm.
And I don't believe that we're trying to make managers as coaches, but I think using a coaching style is what, you know, back in 2019, there was an article in Harvard Business Review that stated the leader, a manager is effectively that of a coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it. It's
Yeah.
a good leader and manager is using the skills of a coach.
Correct.
In fact, there's organizations out there that have replaced managers and used coaches just to get the best out of their people, which is quite out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of the extremes that you could go through for sure.
It is. It might be something that we see in 20, 30 years, but
maybe
for now, we've got to see leaders and managers having better coaching conversations.
Correct. So can you break it down further for us, right? If you were to identify a few attributes of a coaching ready culture, right? What would that be?
So a coaching ready culture is really interesting. So you will have somebody at the senior team who supports and champions coaching. They already get it. So they know, they may have had a coach themselves in the past. They may have had a role model as their own line manager throughout their career who's shown them. And then the coaching and feedback go hand in hand, and people expect it and respect it. They don't fear the conversation because they know it's coming from a good place. It's coming from a trusting place. It's coming from a place of, this is to help you. This is to help us be better, as opposed to attacking. It's open conversations. And then the metrics that will come through are better well-being, lower absenteeism, talent retention. There's so many positives. And it's just one of those places you want to work. It's not toxic. There's not a blame culture. People can make mistakes, and that's okay, because we learn from them rather than we criticize or attack them. For me, again, I keep saying the words, there are just no downsides, and there are so many positives to building a culture where better conversations are happening. And I often find that people get frightened by the word coaching, but for me, it's communication. It's conversation. Let's not overcomplicate it.
No, that's true. Absolutely. It's all about communication and you know, hearing everyone out primarily, right?
Totally.
And typically, you know what, there's a myth associated with it that if you're hearing your team members out, you have to implement their ideas, but that's not necessarily true, right? It's about understanding what their ideas are and then probably taking decision and then helping them understand that decision, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Transparency.
Correct.
Transparency.
Absolutely.
And it's like, we've listened and done this, or we've listened and not done this because.
Correct. Absolutely. That's it. That's what does the trick primarily. Cool.
Absolutely.
So, what are the telltale signs of a missing coaching culture then? I have a few in mind, but I would love to pick your brain first.
So I think standards, results, performance, sickness, poor mental health, absenteeism, so many negative metrics. People not enjoying going to work, people not having fun at work, people not growing and developing, people not moving roles because it's static. There's so many, and I don't just mean moving up a career ladder. I mean getting breadths of opportunities because people are prepared to take risks and challenge and support each other to grow. So I think the telltale signs are a negative culture, a toxic culture, a blame culture, a fearful culture, all the opposites of what a healthy culture should be.
Right. So I ended up having a misfortune of working in an organization where, you know, this definitely was a bad experience, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, what I observed as a manager myself and as an employee in the
Yeah.
organization, primarily, right? A place when people stop speaking up and stop sharing ideas, or what I now call is the manager to team member talking ratio, right? If the manager
Yeah.
to team member talking ratio is 90s to 10 or 95s to 10, or let's say 80s to 20 also, right? That's basically a sign that it's definitely not working, for sure.
I love these. I'm making notes of your little nuggets that you're sharing with me here. I've got super person syndrome and I've got the manager to team talking ratio. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
As opposed to manager to team listening ratio.
Correct.
I'm loving this conversation.
Awesome. Cool. So let's go further down the line.
Yeah.
Right. I noticed that you emphasize the role of over communication and a little bit of an honest feedback in terms of getting the coaching right as a manager, right? Let's talk about a few skills that a manager needs to be effective coach. In addition to these, or maybe let's talk about them as well.
So I often talk about the coach approach or adopting a coaching style. For me, there's skills and there's a mindset. Actually having the mindset, have a coach mindset that actually believing in your people, that they can be more, they can unlock their potential. So actually thinking like a coach, I think is really important, to believing in other people and seeing the positives in them as well. Whereas actually the skills are obviously questions, listening, caring for your people, building that trust and rapport that you and I have talked about, creating accountability in others, but being able to support people and challenge them in equal measures, being able to give feedback honestly, authentically, and achieving goals. Actually, these managers are the ones who are achieving because they're getting to know their team. So there's lots of skills, but I think if we boil it down, it's about being a good human being, really, because a good human being is curious, they ask questions, they listen, they care, and they push people to achieve more. A good human being is probably a good starting point.
Yeah. Very interesting, right? And it's funny that you put it like this, which is being a good human being, because we think that we need to be good human beings in our personal lives, but actually it's in our professional lives where we need to be good human beings.
Absolutely. It to be honest, it's all of life.
Correct.
And actually seeing, I think some leaders and managers think that asking other people questions is a sign of weakness from themselves. I don't know the answer, so I've got to ask somebody else.
Yeah, and that's totally not true, right?
Absolutely. It's a superpower. The best people ask the best questions.
Correct.
Have you seen it too? Do you experience that? I bet you do.
Absolutely. I think the managers I have enjoyed working with, have always been asking for my opinions, asking questions, not afraid of saying that, hey, you know what, even I don't know, let's figure it out together, right? I think that's where the game is, in a way, that are you vulnerable with your team or not, right? Again, it goes back to the same point. You don't have to be super person or super person every time, right? It's okay that even if you don't know things, and that's where the team is there for, to help you.
And again, I do believe that we are moving in that direction. I think vulnerability is being honored these days more, not everywhere, but more, that actually it's not a weakness, it's actually a strength, it's a superpower, that actually show you're human and you will attract your people to go, well, I can be human too. We're all human, and until we're taken over by the robots, we've got to embrace our humanness.
And this is what I keep talking about, and I think I did a post as well regarding this recently, that given how AI is replacing jobs, or there's a threat of replacing jobs, right? What AI might be able to do is replace functional skills, but AI would never be able to replace human skills. And I think that's where the emotional connect that you build, the vulnerability, the human being, the human side of you, right? That's never gonna be replaceable. I think that's a skill that is gonna be lasting even in this AI generation for the next 10, 20 years as we go down.
You're sparking so many ideas in my mind here, because you're so right. It's like literally, you know, we need humans now more than ever.
True.
Absolutely. We
True.
so do. And, we're not going to get the heart from our computers, from AI.
Correct.
Absolutely. It can speed things up for us. It can give us ideas.
Correct.
Actually,
Correct.
that true
Yeah.
heart, which
Right.
makes us human, our most powerful organ in our body. Let's make sure that more people know about that heart and being human. And I think that's what coaching does do. I think, the people who I'm drawn to, and are probably likewise drawn to me, are the people who care,
Correct.
the people who want to do good in the world. And I know my book's got a cheeky title, and that was deliberately so, because actually somebody's called it a love letter to humanity. But actually, it's a plea that, look, we have to do this if we're going to succeed now and in the future for our future generations. We have to make this. We have to build this culture where people care.
Correct.
That's what a coaching culture is.
Cool. So let's talk a little bit about your book now, right? The book, No More Shit Managers. And folks, this is not a bad title at all, right? I mean, this is just as factual as it can get. There are shit managers in this world and we don't need them. Right?
Let's be honest. That's true.
Let's be honest, right? Let's cut the crap. So in your book, you talk about that there is inertia in organizations to take up the baton of coaching, right? Why is it so, and how does one beat that?
I think it's fear, actually. I think people are frightened. What does this mean? They're frightened of investment in cost. Is this going to cost us money? Am I going to show vulnerability? It's not on our agenda at the moment. We know it will be one day, but we've got more urgent priorities. And I question that, and I question it in the book as well. I call it a dose of the yeah buts, which is but when people say that to us, a dose of the yeah buts, I like making up words, and that's one of my favorite yeah buts. It is that, it's the inertia of not wanting to give it a go, just absolute fear and wanting results now. Whereas coaching, changing people's behaviors takes time. It doesn't just happen at a click of a finger. We don't have a magic wand. We have to work with people coaching is a process of growth and development. And I think too many organizations don't have the time to actually invest in people, which is heartbreaking. But I think there's loads of things that we can do to help sell the benefits of building a coaching culture and the benefits of leaders and managers adopting a coach approach more of the time.
Do you think there's also a question of ROI that organizations look at? Hey, what is the ROI I'm going to get? And sometimes they struggle to actually tangibilize that in terms of actual benefits, right? Because everyone can challenge that, hey, is this surely leading to retention or not, right? Or is it surely leading to performance increment or not, right? I think that's where some of the metrics in organizations, when they're not collected properly or tracked properly, they end up, leading to those questions in people's minds, especially decision makers who are putting in the dollars.
Absolutely. And I think they don't invest the time in actually asking the questions. They're just looking at hard metrics, but actually open up the conversation and get people's feedback.
There's a lot of softer sides to this ROI as well, right? It's not only the hard metrics that come in.
I think we should have not just ROI. I think we should have RONI, the return of not investing. I think what's that? Or
I like
the cost of not investing. What's
that?
Like that? It is hard sometimes to quantify it.
Correct.
But it's the right thing to do.
True.
And there's too much evidence out there now to prove that better leaders and managers who have better conversations get better results.
Correct.
There's so much evidence. So let's look at that.
Right.
Don't just pick on that one individual there, or that one, but let's look at the holistic view of investing in our people. and I know Richard Branson talks about a quote, and I've challenged the quote in my book, actually. He talks about training people well enough that they don't leave. And I say, coach them well enough. Let's coach them well enough.
Yep.
It's a next level on top of training.
Correct. Yeah, because they're going to coach others as well then after that, right?
Absolutely. And it is that sort of ripple effect of powerful conversations, transformational conversations impact more than that one person. They impact many. They impact their families, their colleagues, the way they turn up at work every day. The impact is far-reaching beyond one conversation.
True. Awesome. So, what suggestions do you have to offer managers who want to start coaching the team members? What can they do?
Do you know what? I think don't wait to hang around for any organization to go and put you on any level of training or getting yourself a coach. We've got too much information right at our fingertips every single day. Go and Google it, go and look, go and use the AI tools to find out what are some great coaching questions and use them. Start using them. And if you're nervous that actually you want to jump in with the answers when your team member's thinking, let your team member know that actually I'm going to coach you today. I'm going to coach you. And I used to have a team where the previous leader of the team used to get the team doing lots to do, and the leader got all the best jobs to do, and the team were quite limited in their capability. And I was like, whoa, no, we need to grow this capability. So I'm going to coach you. And I used to say to him, would you like me to coach you, or do you want me to just tell you? And most of the team, bar one person, used to say, coach me. So I'd say, right, okay, well, what would you do in this situation? What do you recommend? Great, let's go with that. One person said, just tell me. Tell me. And that person is still doing a very similar job. And this is from an example well over 10 years ago. Now they're very happy in that job, but nonetheless, they didn't grow and develop further.
Oh, absolutely. And I really liked it the way you put it, which is take charge of your own situation, even if or even though your organization might be investing or not, right? And you know what? That is one of the thought processes that we kept in mind when we were designing Risely, which is how can we keep a manager at the heart of everything, right? Because at the end of the day, it's helping them primarily, right? And if you see, coaching is expensive. I mean, that's basically a barrier for most people. Especially, it's accessible to a layer in the organization, which is the top layer typically. It's the bottom layer, the first-time managers, the second-time managers, and the middle management who doesn't get the help that they actually need on an ongoing basis. And that's primarily the thought process that we had. Can we help this layer with a solution which can be not so heavy in terms of investment, but provide them with the right effective, hand-holding support in an ongoing basis? And that's how the Risely story came into being, and the entire product got conceptualized and it got formulated.
And that's not dissimilar from us setting up coaching culture. We created a product called Mindset, which is a self-coaching tool, because we needed coaching to be affordable and accessible to everybody. And then we created a solution called Lessons, which is for leaders and managers to have better conversations. It's criminal that it's just at the top of the organization. It's wrong. It should. It can be so life-changing. Let's get it out to the masses. So we are so on the same page.
Correct. Oh, absolutely. Love it. Well, so here you go, folks. So this is all about coaching culture. If you're a manager, you have some tips on how you can get started. If you're an L&D leader, you have some tips on how you can get started as well, right? And if you need any help in doing that, feel free to reach out to either Joe or me, and we would be happy to help you in our own capacities for sure. So, Joe, before we close out for the day, any closing comments from your side for our audience?
I think we have to start now, building a coaching culture. Don't be fearful. Start now. Again, my book is a good practical guide to the 7 steps to building a coaching culture. And there's lots of ideas of solutions in there, and working with yourselves as well. Actually, how can we get it out to the world? It's so important. So just start somewhere.
Awesome. There you go, folks. Just start. Don't think. And it'll all be right. You have all the resources available to you. So nothing to be frightened about. All right, great, Joe. I loved my conversation with you, and wish you all the best. And thank you so much for joining us for this podcast today.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Take care, folks, and see you next time with another episode in the very near future. Bye. Take care.